Ascension Podcast live show, and it's all about mental well-being and relationships. I'm just going to read you the disclaimer before we start our live Q&A. You must be 18 years of age and over to ask a question on any of my Ascension live shows or purchase any of my podcasts or products. So I'm just going to start that again. Hello and welcome to Ascension Podcasts. This is Ascension Live. I am Selina, your host, and we're going to be doing a live Q&A for approximately 30 minutes on different well-being, mental well-being and relationship topics. But before we start our live Q&A, I'm just going to read the disclaimer. You must be 18 years of age and over to ask a question on any of my Ascension live shows or purchase any of my podcasts or products. All of my podcasts and products are for entertainment purposes only. Please remember that any advice or information given in my podcasts, workshops and readings should never replace professional advice of any kind. I do not answer questions on health or legal matters. If you are experiencing mental health problems, please seek advice and help from a qualified health professional such as your GP. So on today's Ascension live show, I'm going to be talking about anxiety, and I'm going to be doing some affirmations with you, and I'm going to be reading out a few anxiety stories. Please feel free to ask me any of your well-being, relationships or anxiety questions that you have for me, and I will answer them with my intuition and guidance. So we're going to start with the affirmations first. So these are affirmations. I'm going to go through 7 of them because 7's a lucky number. And these are to help you specifically with anxiety and panic attacks. So we'll do these first. I'm going to repeat them 3 times and you can repeat them with me. I am calm. I am calm. I am calm. I am able to let go of panic. I am able to let go of panic. I am able to let go of panic. I have a serene life. I have a serene life. I have a serene life. I am a relaxed person. I am a relaxed person. I am a relaxed person. I am in control. I am in control. I am in control. I am safe and secure. I am safe and secure. I am safe and secure. I breathe easily and naturally. I breathe easily and naturally. I breathe easily and naturally. So what is anxiety? It is a feeling of fear and panic and feeling you're scared. You are not alone in your anxiety. Many people have it. I'm going to now read you some stories about anxiety. So this is a particular list of things that people that are anxious experience from day to day. You may have experienced some of these things. So number one, it says saying something that could offend somebody. Did I say that the wrong way? This article is from the huffingtonpost.co.uk. It's about anxious thoughts people have, just to tell you the article. All the articles will be listed under my YouTube video. So it says, did I say that the wrong way? Did trying so hard not to offend that person actually make it more offensive? So sometimes you may feel that you're always consciously worried about this, how you're saying things, what you're saying to people. You're worried, you're anxious that you're offending people. Number two, it says getting stuck on public transport. This is quite a common one that I've heard. When on a subway train, or when on a train and it is stuck or stalled, it's underground, and I don't have any information about why, I get a bit freaked out and contemplate taking a taxi, even if I know it'll cost way too much and take the same time. This is because at least I'm able to see what is holding me up and feel like I have some control over my surroundings. So that's about being in control. So this person was very scared when the train suddenly stopped. They felt anxious and they felt they were losing control, so they thought they'll get a taxi. And after a minute or so, the train started again. So this is about taking control of a situation. Number three, arriving somewhere late or on time. So it doesn't matter if they were late or on time, they felt very anxious. You may have experienced this. What time do I have to leave work to get to where I'm going? What is traffic going to look like? Will parking be hard? So these are all just feeling anxious. You may have felt anxious about traveling somewhere. Fearing something could go wrong. So this is quite a common one, where you're panicking, worrying that something's going to go wrong, and it's not even going to go wrong. I am in constant fear of what's going to happen if and when something happens to my husband. I fear I will end up homeless. I have no friends or family to turn to. So this is quite dramatic, this one. Somebody is actually panicking and assuming the worst. So don't assume the worst, always assume the best. And that way you're going to stay positive. Got number 5, it says forgetting to do something important. On good days, I can leave the house without having to check the lock 3 times. That's a lot of times. Or making sure the fridge is closed several times. On good days, I can control my thoughts and nothing comes through my mind. On bad days, I can't stop the what ifs. That sounds like a little bit of OCD there. Wondering if your loved ones are upset with you. Why are they taking so long to respond to my text message? Are they mad at me? I must have annoyed them. So that's a little bit of paranoia there, and that this person is feeling paranoid that they've sent a message and nobody is replying straight away. So again, don't panic. If someone isn't replying, don't assume the worst. Just give them their space and time to reply. Number 8, making a mistake at work that will result in someone judging you. So sometimes we feel people are judging us at work and we constantly have to meet a target or meet we think we set, and we have a perception of an expectation, and really they may not even have that expectation, or they may not even be judging you. But it says, I had a typo, so it's a typo error in the last email and I hit reply all. Now everyone thinks I'm incompetent or don't know the difference between there and there. So 2 spellings, T-H-E-I-R and T-H-E-R-E, 2 spellings. This is again paranoia that people think that you're incompetent or you don't know how to spell. So again, don't worry about what people think. Focus on how you view yourself. Make sure you always have a good, fair view of yourself. Don't be hard on yourself there. This person's being hard on themselves. Number 9, looking stupid in a social setting. Now that's quite a common one. Are they laughing at me? I hope I don't mess this up. I hope I don't say the wrong thing. Was that supposed to be funny? Was I not supposed to laugh? Can I leave yet? So that person completely not enjoying the social setting at all. Just relax. Don't think about what other people are thinking of you. Because they say, are they laughing at me? Of course they're not. They may just be laughing in general. So this is paranoia. So paranoia and anxiety, they're very similar. They go together, but there's no need to be paranoid, because really nobody was laughing at you and nobody was talking about you. So that's social anxiety, that one, which I will possibly cover next week. I've got more articles on that. It says, number 10, feeling anxious about being anxious. So your own anxiety is making you more anxious. And then it's like a circle of fear. Most of my anxiety is about having an anxiety disorder. Why am I anxious? I have no reason to be anxious. I'm happy and have a good life. Why can't I let the anxiety go? I know it's stressing me out. Can everyone tell? Am I making other people anxious? So this is really overthinking your whole brain and anxieties. It's overthinking everything. So these are 10 things that I've read for you about anxiety. They're little stories. They're very interesting. Got another story for you now. It says, what do I mean when I say I have anxiety? And this is from thehuffpost.com. So it says, for most people I talk to, when I tell them I have an anxiety disorder, they nod their head and tell me it'll be okay. When I tell them, I'm sorry, I'm having a bad anxiety day, can we reschedule? They smile and tell me there's nothing to worry about, and if I just get out of bed, I'll see that everything is fine. When I don't want to go bar hopping because I know that alcohol only increases my anxiety tendencies, I hear, you're fine, it'll be fun, let off some steam. Meanwhile, my heart is pounding so fast that I'm afraid it may be visible beating out of my chest. But it isn't. My head isn't actually spinning in circles. My eyes are not crossed like my blurred vision indicates. My knees aren't wobbling along with the trembling muscles, fighting the urge to collapse. My face isn't pale, and my eyes aren't bloodshot. No, on the outside, I look like I do every day. My hair is clean, my clothes match, I'm awake, alive and breathing fine. So nothing is wrong, right? Wrong. That's the thing about anxiety disorders. We look fine. Of course, we look fine. Our legs aren't broken, our tongues haven't been cut out, we aren't cut or bruised, because anxiety is not a physical disability. That, however, does not make it any less debilitating. Anxiety is a complex disorder, and it is nothing to simply smile and nod away. You telling us everything is okay not only doesn't help us, but it hurts us more, because nobody seems to take it seriously. So here are some things I would like you to know about struggling with anxiety. It is not constant. There are days when I can make it through without having to stop and breathe or pop a Xanax. I can smile and laugh. I can be productive and go to work. Go out to dinner, go see a movie with my friends, and trust me, I know how difficult it is to understand how I can be fine one day and the next not be able to get out of bed the next day, she means. That's just how it is. Which leads me to my next point. It comes in waves. Anxiety is a strange beast. It will let me have some fun for a couple of days, and I think, maybe it's finally left me alone. Then a few days go by, and I wake up one morning unable to even think straight, because for whatever reason, the beast has once again emerged, and there is nothing I can do to stop it from coming, because I have woken up to it sitting on my chest smiling as if I'm welcoming it home. It can be completely paralyzing. I don't know if this one applies to everyone, but I know it is a very big piece of anxiety disorder. When anxiety hits, I am frozen. I can get up and go through the motions of my day, but my brain is elsewhere, held captive by whatever demon is inhabiting me this time. I cannot think about anything except my inability to think or breathe or feel. Let that one sink in. My brain feels like it is literally paralyzed, as if it is stuck in some kind of limbo with no doors or windows or exits of any kind. The worst part, I'm completely alone in there. It can ruin relationships, not just romantic relationships, but a relationship of any kind. Friendships and relationships alike can be destroyed by this condition. I have experienced both, and it is the most devastating kind of loss. Why? Because it is not our fault. It is a disorder that, without the knowledge of how to care for it properly, can explode over time. Eventually, it can become too much for someone else to carry around with them. If they become close enough to you to experience firsthand the effects of your anxiety, it can become too much for them, and they might sever the ties for their own mental health, and it hurts like hell. But I can't blame them, because if I could choose to stay as far away from anxiety as they can, I would in a heartbeat. So she says, they say there are treatments, and I'm willing to willing to try them all. Many people who are diagnosed with anxiety are prescribed medication to control it. Most of the time it works to take the edge off and can make me a bit more functional in everyday life. However, simply using medications usually isn't enough. I've tried going to the gym. The endorphins usually help immensely. A lot of people take up yoga and breathing exercises. Those are supposed to help. I haven't tried them yet, but they are next on the list. I do a lot of things that make me happy. For me, writing, singing and colouring in my adult colouring books are very comforting. In addition to all of these things, I have found talk therapy to be the greatest tool and worth every penny. Having a therapist who is constantly on your side and there to just let you talk without ever once judging you or blaming you for the condition you're in is such a freeing experience. I highly suggest it to anyone struggling with anxiety. And she finally says, I will overcome it, but it will take time. Fighting anxiety can be a never-ending battle with frequent slip-ups and breakdowns along the way. I am still in the process personally, and it is not easy at all. This is by far the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my entire life, and I have been through a lot. Anxiety, however, takes the cake. Learning how to overcome anxiety is the most difficult task anyone has ever asked me to complete. But these thoughts, the ones that are not truly mine, feel like poison to my soul. But on those days when I can mark a check in the win category, I feel like I can take on the world. I want every day to feel that way, and I won't stop until every day does. So she says, here's the thing, anxiety can be pretty heavy and scary stuff. It is not a visible injury, but that doesn't make it any less legitimate. We need people in our lives who are willing to help us and support us, and understand that we need a lot of that help and support. I won't think any less of you if you don't think you can handle the commitment of being part of my life, but I do ask that you do not get my hopes up and let me down. So when I say I have anxiety, here's what I really mean. Treat me nicely, be patient with me, support me. Know that everything I do, I am thinking about how it affects you. I am fighting for control over my life every day. Understand that. I am a handful and I know it. I am not easy to have in your life, but if you let me, I will always be there for you. I will never forget the way you held on when most people would let go. So that was a very nice article written by Gina DeCiso. She's a contributor, and that was from the HuffPost. So I had a question recently. Someone asked me a question about anxiety. So I've just seen someone just join my Instagram, because I'm live on Instagram. I'm also live on Podbean as well. Someone recently asked me a question about anxiety, and they said, I'm so anxious about my driving test. And they said, I've got a drive. It was for a truck. It was a client. It was somebody they had a question they wanted me to answer. So I'm going to answer it now for them. So they were driving. They wanted to drive. They learned how to drive a truck, and they're going to take their driving test. It's a big test. And they were saying, oh, I'm so anxious about this. Will I pass? What do you feel? What do you sense? My answer to you is that I'm sensing that a lot of your anxiety was actually not to do with the driving test at all. It was the driving test was triggering things from your past, because I feel this man had been bullied at school, and he had been bullied, and I feel the bullying actually is the root of why it might be not all the roots, but one of the roots of why he was so anxious about this driving test. So I would say, yes, I do feel there's a strong chance you'll pass, but you've got to overcome the anxiety and not be so scared and not be so hard on yourself. And I feel it was about him facing the bullies, in his mind, and actually realizing he's a fully grown man now. You're a fully grown man. You're not being bullied anymore. You're not being bullied now. That was when you were a child. Maybe you were a bit vulnerable then. You were different to how you are now. And to actually grow in the situation, because a part of him probably still felt like he was a small child being bullied again, scared to go to school, scared to go in the classroom, and therefore scared to go to the driving test. So I do feel that you will get a good result, but you've got to be in control of your emotions. And the best tip I can say for anxiety, if you're ever feeling anxious, just grow. Imagine you're growing out of the situation. You're an adult. It could stem from when you were a child, but you're growing out of the situation. You're bigger than the situation, and you will then be able to achieve your result, the results you want. So please feel free to ask me any questions. I have someone on Instagram. If you want to ask me any of your well-being or anxiety questions, it's mainly well-being today. I'm happy to answer them and give you an intuitive answer. So I'm just waiting if anybody's got any questions. No questions. Someone's waved back. The other question that I had earlier was, someone wanted to know what to do to overcome agoraphobia. Now this is a form of anxiety. My top tip for that would be to actually join a group. If you join a group, then you don't have to go out on your own. So agoraphobia is the fear of going out to wide open spaces with crowds. So if you're very scared of going out, join some sort of activity group or social group. So you're going out with friends, you're going out with people, or you have to go out to meet them. So you make an arrangement to meet them. So that was what somebody had asked me. So I'm going to answer that, saying join a group, and then you sharing the pressure of having to leave the house to go out, because you know they're going to have to leave the house to go out too, to meet you. So joining groups could be any group. It could be a singing group, art and crafts group, could be a running group. But the fact is that you have to leave the house. So that's if you've got agoraphobia. Anxiety is quite a common one, actually. Heard a lot of people ask me about that. So, does anyone have any questions? You don't have to say your name. I won't read out your name. Well, that's it for today, for today's Ascension Live. And if you want to buy any of my podcasts, interactive video workshops, if you want to book any intuitive readings with me, or buy any of my astro predictions or products, please see my website www.ascensionpodcasts.co.uk, and the link is under this video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now. See you next week, Tuesday 1 p.m.